Solana is incredibly hyped right now. The Solana token is going up, but also ecosystem tokens within the Solana blockchain are going up more than the rest. For example, this here, Bonk. We talked about this on the 20th of November on this channel. That's when the price was over here. But it's not just random meme coins that are going up. SOL itself is also going up, and we are going to talk about SOL in this video. Now, this here is just the US dollar chart. This is what most people look at. And yes, this went up by more than 670% since beginning of the year, but that's actually not what I'm focused on. I'm interested in outperformance versus Bitcoin and Ethereum, because that's in the end why we get into Solana. Solana is more risky than Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's got a smaller market cap. And by taking on more risk, we want to get more return. And interestingly enough, Solana also outperformed Bitcoin and ETH since beginning of the year. Versus Bitcoin, we've got 190% outperformance versus Ethereum, even 288%. Now, the big question is always, how long will this rally last? And I do not pretend to have a crystal ball here and tell you where the price is going to go, but I think I've got some interesting data that you've probably not yet seen, helping you refining your decision. Have a look at this, for example. This is Solana dominance. Now, you might have heard of Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance is how much of the entire cryptocurrency market cap is in Bitcoin. Now, the same applies here for Solana dominance. How big is Solana, relatively speaking, in the entire crypto ecosystem? Our historical peak had been at around 2.8, 2.7%. So for Solana to further grow, it needs to make new all-time highs in terms of relevance in all of crypto. Because if it doesn't, then the upper ceiling is already after a rally of 40 to 30%. But the potential downside is way more. Solana used to be less than 0.5% of all of crypto. This would be a relative underperformance of more than 76%. So being invested now in Solana is a bet that Solana will be more important than ever. And again, I'm looking at relative performance. Of course, when Bitcoin and Ethereum goes up by 100%, then Solana will go up as well. The question is, will Solana continue to outperform? Will it become a more relevant part, a bigger pie, or rather a bigger share of the pie of all of crypto? Here's another interesting chart, and that looks even more dangerous, unfortunately, right? I'm not sharing any opinion here. I'm simply just showing you charts that you probably haven't seen yet. This is Solana's market cap relative to total 3. Now let me tell you what total 3 is. There is the entire cryptocurrency market cap, that's total. There is total 2, which is all of crypto except Bitcoin. And then there's total 3. That's all of crypto except Bitcoin and except Ethereum. So you're looking basically at the market cap of all of the altcoins. And so the measure we just looked at was how big is Solana's market cap in relation, not to all of crypto, but in relation to all of the altcoins. And yes, here Solana is even closer to the all-time high. Pretty much zero further growth, maybe maximum 10%, but a lot of potential drop, more than 80%. I'm not saying Solana can't break out here. I'm not saying this is already the ceiling and that this resistance will hold. I'm simply saying that if you're now betting on Solana, you are betting on the case that SOL will become more relevant than it has ever been in history. Now, what could underpin that relevancy? Let's look at on-chain data. Let's look at transactions, etc. We've got our first chart here, the daily unique addresses interacting with Solana DeFi. And at least in the last few days, this is rising nicely. Another chart, the weekly Solana NFT transactions, also growing very nicely. Here's something else, the monthly Solana transactions also growing. But here's the thing, all of those charts that we just looked at were relatively short-term in duration. And we also want to look at those charts from different kinds of websites, because the way those things are calculated is very different from website to website. For example, look at this. This is Nansen.ai and it looks at the daily active accounts by type. We've got vote accounts, program accounts, token accounts, etc. In purple, we've got the wallets. This is a long-term chart. This is picking up to a degree, but it's not at all-time highs. It's not at the May 2022 level, where step in, for example, was very popular. With the bear market, we also saw less interest in the usage of SOL. It's picking up, but it's not close to the all-time high. The price, relatively speaking, though, is already. So the market seems to be anticipating that the number of active addresses will at least double or maybe even triple from here. Here's again the daily transactions on Solana. That's not dropping, similar to what we have already seen on June.com. So it looks like the number of active wallets is very far from the all-time high, but the wallets that are still active are very active, are more active than ever before. Here we've got the same number, this time on theblock.co, the number of active addresses on the Solana network. The chart doesn't look the same. We've got these two massive spikes that we didn't see before. We also see a bit of a pickup, but again, far away from the all-time highs. Let's compare the numbers. 450K today, and at the top 1.3 million. Here we also have around 450K when we add up all of those numbers. And 1.2, 1.3 million also aligns here. So those charts aren't actually that different. We actually also have here these peaks that are overlooked that I didn't see at the beginning. Next, the number of non-vote transactions on the Solana network. It's not necessarily growing. And that's a problem that I have here, right? The Solana price itself is going up massively, but the usage isn't necessarily going up in all of the metrics. So in order to stay objective, in order to just look at the numbers, we have to say that either the market knows something about future growth that we don't know, or alternatively, the market is simply just jumping on this current hype. Solana picked up some momentum in the last few weeks, and now more and more people are simply just jumping on this rally. This could be another explanation. This is, I think, what's really going on actually. Have a look at this chart behind me. This is the total value locked on Solana, measured in US dollars. It used to be at 10 billion. Now it's at 1.5 billion. A drop of 85%. That's in US dollars, but also measured in SOL tokens. It's not necessarily growing in the DeFi ecosystem. And DeFi Llama has a lot of decentralized apps that it's measuring. These are all decentralized applications on the Solana network. The list pretty much never stops. Instead of looking at active wallets, we can also look at the number of newly created unique wallets, unique signers. That's this chart behind me. Also, I don't necessarily see that much growth in the last 2 years. Rather the opposite, right? We used to be more than double, as in the number of wallets that onboarded was way larger in the past. Here's another way to look at the total value locked. This is now for all of DeFi, for a lot of different blockchains combined. So we've got Cardano in here, we've got Tron, the Binance Smart Chain, etc. Let's have a look if Solana by itself was defying this trend, if it actually didn't shrink that much. But of course, we already know from the DeFi Llama page that it's likely not the case. This is the chart. We don't even see much of a recovery, unfortunately. I do not dare to make a prediction where the SOL US dollar price will go. I also do not dare to predict where it will go relative to other cryptocurrencies. But what I do dare to say is that Solana now, historically speaking, is very high. It's very highly priced compared to all the other cryptocurrencies. And I also don't see the growth in the entire blockchain, just looking at on-chain analytics. We do have momentum, both in the price, but also in select altcoins like Bonk. But I'm not sure if now buying into SOL massively really has the perfect risk to reward. I do not think about this deterministically, right? I simply just look at this in terms of probabilities. Is it really that probable, looking at all of that data that we just looked at, that Solana is likely going to outperform the rest? I let you be the judge. If you're the first time on this channel, feel free to subscribe. A like would be very much appreciated as well. It will help the channel grow. There's also a free Telegram. The link is down below.